All right. Welcome to the podcast. Aaron Telford from Baxter Blue. How are you going, mate?
I'm well, thanks. Yeah, really well. Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent. You're just talking obviously all fair about the Black Friday sales and the plethora of activity that generates, particularly for an online business like yours.
yeah, no, it's crazy. It's the big time of the year. As I was sort of mentioning, it used to be the one day,
Mm,
Black Friday, and then you sort of followed by Cyber Monday, and now it's literally the whole of November. So
that's it. And I guess this would generate a lot of people planning or buying Christmas presents a month in advance, yeah, taking advantage of the sales.
yeah, look, it does, and I think that's what we get a lot of people, and so it's the expectation now that everyone's going to do it.
Mm,
So essentially, what everyone's doing coming into October, you see sales start to slow down in October. Someone sort of told me, they said it's like the valley of death. You sort of come out of this, and this is all very cyclical with online businesses. But you
yeah.
sort of come out of end of financial year sales, and you sort of come down. And those months before, everyone's just waiting for Black Friday.
Yep.
So that, and they know that it's not just a day now, and everyone's promoting it. So everyone's sort of saying we're going to have our Black Friday sales. So people put their wallets back in their pockets and don't really bring them out until all these sales start. So it is good. It's good for, I mean, I suppose from everyone's a expecting a sale,
Mm,
but B, everyone's starting to sort of basically they're shopping for for Christmas. So
Christmas.
and
Absolutely.
and everyone you speak to does it. I get home, my wife's there and popping on and buying the kids' clothes and this, that, and the other. Everyone's kind of doing it, so
Oh, of
that
course,
you
yeah,
can't
and they're really
can't
clever
really
with their
avoid it.
marketing now too, aren't they? Like
Yeah,
you get text message, emails, social media. It's in your face everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. So no, yeah, crazy time. But anyway, that's kind of with everyone at this time of year as well, I think.
It is. It is. So look, obviously you're a co-founder of Baxter Blue. Do you want to just talk about what Baxter Blue is, firstly, for anyone that's listening that isn't familiar with the company, and how you sort of established that and the reason behind that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So Baxter Blue. So we started back in 2017. Actually, was when we started the business, mid sort of 2017, and we sell blue light glasses. Back then, we were blue light glasses, and specifically to sell blue light glasses. So we have since transitioned into what we call digital wellbeing. So in addition to selling blue light glasses and sunglasses and what we call blue light sleep glasses, we also sell a range of digital wellbeing products, which is kind of like products from sleep masks to heated neck wraps, anything to sort of do with managing, let's call it, your well-being while you're sitting on devices, or even once you've been on devices during the day and so forth. So yeah, so that's essentially what we sell.
Yep.
But I think we kind of got into it. I would say kind of by accident, in a sense that one of our daughters, who at the time was, how old was she? She was probably 13, 14, something at the time. And she was actually getting a few headaches and getting sore eyes and so forth. So no one in our family wears glasses. So we thought, okay, well, let's take it to the optometrist and see what's wrong. And they went there and they said, well, it looks like she basically got a thing called digital eye strain from being on devices, because all kids now.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I went to school, I don't think it wasn't even computers back then, but
No.
but now they're literally from kindergarten. They take laptops to school and so forth. So
That's right.
and as you know, they don't just use our laptops at school; they're on them when they get home from school and into the evenings and so forth. So anyway, so she had what they sort of coined as digital eye strain, and we kind of went, okay, what is this? So what can you do to sort of get around it? They said, well, you can sort of get these glasses called blue light glasses, and we can put this special lens in it, and it filters out the blue light, and it also has anti-reflective coatings and so forth to kind of mitigate the glare. And so, okay, well, that sounds interesting. How much? That's about $400. Right, okay, $400. And they said, or an alternative to that, because blue light glasses, you can't claim them because when you got a planar script, in other words, no magnification in it, it's not claimed as a device that you can claim on your healthcare.
Right.
So they said, what we can do, we can actually add a slight bit of magnification to your glasses, and then you can claim it back on your healthcare. And we went, well, she doesn't really need it. She's 14 years old. She's not getting eye strain. They said, well, it won't make a big difference, but you can still claim it back, and that'll only cost you $180. So we kind of walked away from there and kind of went, that's a bit bizarre. There's there's got to be a way. Like there's all of these people, and we also realized actually at the time then, after doing a bit of research, that all of the big optometrists and all of the OPSM Specsavers, they all actually have, when you go in there and you go and get your prescription, they say, oh, would you like to get a blue light filter on top of that? So it was like an add-on.
It's an add-on.
And they charge you an extra $90, $100 or whatever. So it was kind of common knowledge back then, but it wasn't really offered to people in the space of who didn't need it. It was like, okay, there's probably 20-30% of people in the world that need that need reading glasses, but the other 60, 70, 80% don't. So it's like, what about these other people? And everyone's on devices. So did quite a lot of research, and my background then, I was doing a lot of sourcing in a previous job in China, and I also got a lot of experience in sourcing a lot of different products. So I did a lot of research. Long story short, went and sort of went around China numerous times. We developed the technology for our lenses, found a supplier that could actually create the lenses and also create the frames, and Baxter Blue was born.
Wow.
So we sort of thought, okay, well, yeah, this is a thing. And so I think back then it was, it said 2017, and there wasn't that many people or anyone really doing blue light glasses specifically. And we sort of went, it's glasses for people that don't wear glasses, essentially. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot of education. Then we had to sort of go out. We sort of launched it. We knew there was a need there for people, but we had to. People didn't know what blue light was, and B, people sort of didn't really know what these blue light glasses were and why would you need to wear glasses. However, everyone was getting these symptoms of sore eyes, headaches from all of this screen time. So it was just a matter of, okay, if you're suffering from this, you need to wear these. So so the business was kind of born then. So we as I said, it was really sort of educating the whole audience and educating people out there. And then this was back, so as I said, like 6 years ago. So social media, Instagram was a thing, but it wasn't as big a beast as what it is now. And then we were getting a bit of a presence on there, and then we started getting a lot of people sort of reaching out to us, the influencers, and going, "Hey, can you gift me a pair of glasses, and I'll talk about them because I've heard about these things. I've heard they're amazing." And it just became this kind of it's like a snowball rolling down the hill and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then everyone kind of wanted to sort of, as it was kind of called hopping on the Baxter bandwagon. All of these different influencers wanted to hop on, and then they talked about us and they spread the word. So it was so it was a pretty amazing time back then. So it was we were one of the people first in the business, and then we had a lot of other people, and then a lot of the other big companies kind of jumped on board. Got a lot of the other sunglasses companies. Everyone, okay, particularly back in COVID, this is okay, we better go and do some blue light glasses because everyone's talking about these blue light glasses. So since then, there's a lot more people that could have come into the space as well.
Yeah, wow. So it's kind of pioneered the idea, and then everyone sort of jumped on the back of it.
Yeah, I think, we weren't there was a few others in the space then, but I think particularly in Australia, we're probably one of the first people that kind of did it, and that's kind of what we're known for now as well, as first and foremost our blue light glasses. And also because I think what also we found also back then was so blue light glasses with the red lenses that filter out all of the blue light, which you actually only can wear at nighttime.
Right.
Because back then there was a lot of companies doing that. They had the red ones, but no one really sort of had the technology where they do the clear ones like I've got on now. Flight tint in it, which is for daytime use. So we started getting all of these chiropractors reaching out to us. Someone's, well, what would chiropractors reaching out? And they went, oh, we've been waiting for someone to come out with a fashionable pair of glasses that people can wear during the day, because chiropractors understand how it messes with your whole circadian rhythms and can actually muck up it's all your hormones and so forth. So we started getting a whole lot of chiropractors. We're now stocked in, probably about 50 to 100 chiropractors in Australia.
Wow.
And then optometrists started coming on as well. Well, they went, okay, well, we actually can do the blue light protection when you do prescription, but you guys are known as the blue light guys. So we'll get you we'll get some of your Plano glasses and we'll stock them. So
fantastic.
So that's kind of what happened.
So it grew. Well, what's it been now? What are we, 6 years later? And obviously you're incredibly well known and very well established through a number of different means, I guess. Did it blow up during COVID? Like, did you find, because everyone was working from home, kids were doing school from home, did Did it blow up a lot more?
It was I remember the day. It was the 25th, I think, of April. And that's what I think that when we first went into lockdown, or was it March? No, maybe it was March, 25th
March. Yeah.
And I went, oh my gosh, what's going to happen here? Like, there is the business that what's going to, like, essentially we're basically thinking the worst, like no one's going to, who's going to buy glasses? No one's got money, no one can, but yeah, what's going to happen?
Yep.
And it just became this bizarre thing. Probably 3 or 4 days after that, it literally started more sales than normal. And then we just had these months, which it was probably 10 times more than what we'd normally be doing. It was crazy. So that first April, it was crazy. And it was very, I think then it became a thing because people went, okay, well, everyone was working at home because no one could go out. So everyone was on devices all day, either working and then into the evenings and so everyone needed glasses because they were having so much more screen time, and then people would tell their friends about it, and clearly people were having, and I think the other thing as well, which was interesting, was people were having Zooms with all their mates. That's obviously how everyone caught up with each other.
That's right.
And their workmates as well. So I pop onto a call with Paul and be chatting and saying, oh, wow, nice glasses. What are they for? Oh, they're blue light glasses. I get sore eyes, blah, blah, blah. So they'd tell a friend, who'd tell a friend.
Yeah.
So, and you have big, massive Zoom. So, yeah, so for those 2 years of lockdown, every time we went into a prolonged lockdown, you just saw sales spike. So, yeah, we as much as we didn't really like lockdown, but from a business point of view, we were quite happy.
Blessing in disguise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you mentioned obviously digital wellbeing and digital wellness. What's the preferred term here? Just to clarify.
We like to call it digital wellbeing or wellness. I could say wellness as well. But yeah. So we and I suppose so. What actually happened as a result of COVID, and when we sort of come in talking about the digital wellness or digital wellbeing, was we kind of felt everyone's suddenly now got this kind of hybrid working at home and back in the office.
Of course,
particularly now, but as a result of that, there's more people are on devices. People are on a lot longer. So obviously all the Zooms, and I think what was actually happening was, well, we've seen happening, it was people suddenly getting all these other ailments apart from sore eyes, but they were getting sore necks. They weren't sleeping as well. There's all these other raft of different sort of issues that people were getting from being on screens. So we thought, okay, how can we support different people's well-being here and their digital health as well? So that's when we started introducing. We thought, okay, well, firstly we came up with a name. What will we call it? Let's call it digital well-being. So that kind of sounds good. And a bit of a different name, but it's also what we're doing. We're enhancing your digital well-being while you're on devices. So it kind of all made sense. And then we started looking. We thought, okay, what are the different issues that people suffer from? So what's the problem? And let's come up with a solution. So and that's how we started developing these different products. And we'd also had sort of people, we sort of asked for feedback on emails from people, what they would like to see, and we continue to do that now that people know we're doing these digital wellness or wellbeing products. But that's kind of how we got into that space, and then sort of offering everything else, all these different products, and obviously more coming out as well. So
of course. So what was one of the, besides the eyes, what was the next? Was it the neck that was one of the bigger ones that was coming back in terms of feedback?
Neck and sleep.
Yeah, okay.
Because so I mean, neck. So at the moment I'm speaking to you on my portable laptop stand. So and I'm probably not actually sitting that well either.
No, neither am I now that I think about it.
But you tend to sort of, we all do it. I do it. We tend to sort of end up. We start off very upright, and then
you slouch, don't you?
Like this. So we sort of developed this portable laptop stand. So we know that people, it's got to be light because we don't want people carrying, and it's got to be portable. People can use it in their office or at their home, wherever they move around their home and so forth. So that was the first thing, was the portable laptop stand, and that sort of, it's all about getting your head at screen height type thing, so you're not looking down. So we don't, because the device, the laptop's on an angle. We always promote people to actually use their portable little keypad, obviously, rather than type up that, because that's obviously not very good for your wrist. But so that's and that's proved super popular. And then we just trying to remember the sort of the order at which we released all of the products. So it was the laptop sound. We came out with a something that was quite different, which is a pillow spray.
Oh, okay.
So for evening sleep. Yep. So it's basically just sort of, it's a bit of a refreshing thing you spray on your pillow at nighttime, and it's got lavender and chamomile, all these sort of sleep enhancing essential oils. And so that was one of our first things that we sort of released. And then we also released a digital de-stress roll-on, which is, there again, essential oils, but with peppermint in it. So if people are sort of feeling a bit stressed during the day and they've had a stressful meeting, calls or whatever, or just generally stressed out, you rub this on your palms of your wrists and rub it together, and it just sort of got these sort of calming sensors. And we developed these products with a chemist here just within Australia, and it's all Australian made. So yeah, they're sort of super sort of popular products as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, you got the I've got it right here, the neck wrap as well.
Yeah, well, that's really, really popular. So that's essentially we head and neck wraps are not new.
No.
Been around. They're the wheat ones, and we thought, like, we want to do something right. There was two things we wanted to do here. Was A, do something that wasn't wheat, because wheat can tend to smell. B, was make something that kind of looked good but also sat around your neck. I'm not sure if you've had them, but the ones we had at home were basically like these blocks, square or rectangles, and you're kind of balancing it on your neck. And we thought, how can we get something that you kind of fits around your neck? So we got this. We designed this ergonomically designed sort of neck wrap, which sort of wraps around your neck.
Yeah,
it's there quite nicely. It's quite a good looking sort of neck wrap, and it's also made of clay beads as well. So put it in the microwave, and the clay beads don't smell. They stay warm for pretty much the same time as the wheat. And so that's the head and neck wraps. Become a super popular product with because so many people, I think, they're getting the necks, not just from being on devices, but also different sports injuries and things like that as well. A lot of
of course,
use them around their waists and on their tummies and so forth. As well. So it's a whole plethora of different reasons that you can use as well.
I guess with the neck though, like, it's so common now where you see people even walking down the street looking at their phone, like they're not actually looking where they're going. So that whole bent of the neck thing is quite common. So do you find, or do you feel, just based on the research you've done and obviously customers and so forth, that there's going to be, I guess, I don't want to use the word epidemic, but there's going to be a lot more issues off the back of technology, given the evolution of technology and the high use of it at the moment? 5-10 years time, what do you think?
Well, no, I think definitely. I mean, when you talk about that with your neck, that's called tech neck.
Yeah.
Is the term that's used for it. And I think what we'll find probably is more with the younger kids, the teenagers these days, is as soon as, I think it's become such a habit that people sort of can't walk around without actually having their phone stuck to them or whatever. And obviously people are multitasking, but to be honest, I think a lot of the time it's actually just more habit. You see kids get straight onto it. You see them all at bus stops and everything. No one can sort of sit there and maybe look up at the blue sky and just think about something else. Everyone's always stimulated or trying to stimulate themselves with news, YouTube, whatever.
That dopamine hit. Yeah,
it's crazy. So look, I think there is becoming issues. We work with a lady called Dr. Christy Goodwin, who's amazing, and she does a whole lot of research into this space as well.
Okay.
And because it's not just the actual, obviously, what it's doing to you health wise in terms of your necks and so forth. It's also how it's actually affecting you from the point of view of you're just getting addicted to the devices.
Yep.
And so there's that mental addiction that you're getting on them, as well as obviously the physical things that come as a result. So yeah, I think it is going to be an issue. And I think one thing that we sort of want to start doing, and we're starting to do with people, is not just come up with solutions for products, but it's also there's different apps and so forth out there, and it's something that we'd potentially be looking at, is like, how do you actually sort of have something that an app that sort of buzzes you every 5 minutes or 10 minutes and says, okay, get up and go and stretch your legs. You need to be getting out there and stretching and so forth. Or something that's saying, okay, have a break, look away from the screen. I mean, there's this rule they kind of say from the screen, it's called the 20-20-20 rule, and it's every 20 minutes, take a look in the distance at 20 feet for 20 seconds, just to give your eyes a bit of a break as well.
Yeah, right.
So I think in addition to extra products, yes, there's a whole lot that's going to be happening in the space of people sort of from getting technology, ironically, to help us sort of manage these things. And I think it's an area that I feel quite strongly about, because I think it comes into nutrition and food as well.
Yep.
How do we eat right when we're at the office during the day? How do we sort of eat right so then we're going to be sleeping well at night? Because it all leads into that. Like they're all, as you know, it's all connected. So it's
it is.
No,
I guess with, like, you know, we're not going to. It's not going to be a point where technology is going to go away anytime soon. If anything, it's going to get more prevalent, more highly used, evolve more, where we're using it, you know, all the time, 24/7, with the introduction of AI and all this sort of stuff. So we might as well change it to suit our lifestyle, but also allow us to, you know, maintain well-being, as you've indicated.
Yeah. Look, I think it's also really important for businesses to sort of adopt this as well. And I know there are a lot of businesses which actually are out there and are sort of managing their staff's well-being, because at the end of the day, that's why people are suffering these different issues, because they're having to be on these devices all day. So I think it's up to these businesses to give them the tools, give their staff the tools, help them manage this during the day. And that's everything from what products you can use to sort of make you better, what apps potentially, and this is getting out there, but I think it needs to be used out there a bit more.
Absolutely.
It's because I think that there's going to be these issues further down the track with people.
Oh, without a doubt. Like you said, you know, the kids these days, it's very obvious. Like, I've got 3 teenagers, and they all are glued to their devices unless we tell them otherwise. And and if you don't say something, it's inherent that they will gravitate towards the device, start playing it, get on YouTube, whatever. So all of a sudden, you know, that 3 hours has gone by, and they've completely lost all sense of time. So not only, like you said, not only from a physical point of view, but psychologically as well. There is a development of addiction there that can be compared to, you know, drugs or tobacco or alcohol or anything.
Because they're having to be constantly stimulated. They need this stimulation. I mean, you see it at breakfast. One of my kids this morning is there. We're racing to drop him to the bus, but there he is, slamming his Weet-Bix down, but he's still got his YouTube going on. He's still multitasking and flicking through. It's like you've got to give it a break for a bit. So it's it's a different level.
It is. It will be really interesting. I know what, like 5 years, 10 years from now, what that looks like. Particularly if there's no intervention as well. Like, I know that's exactly what you're trying to do with, you know, and obviously, you know, look after the wellness side of things. But if there's an individual that has that, for lack of a better term, addiction now, and no intervention, how are they going to gravitate towards adulthood, and what does that look like if they have to be on the devices all the time? I don't know. It's kind of scary, to be honest.
Yeah. And look, I think it's we probably also, not just for the kids, but also from workplaces as well, we've got ourselves to sort of potentially blame in a sense as well, because everyone's trying to do more and get more out of their staff as well. So everyone's and people are multitasking and doing 10 different things at once, whether they're doing it on the device, they've got their phone going here. And so I think technology is an amazing thing. Like it's just offered all of this opportunity to sort of be a lot more productive. But then the counteract to that is that it's actually not healthy for us.
No, that's exactly right. So you've got to achieve balance, which is obviously a very cliched term, but it's very true. You know, there's only so much you should be looking at in terms of screens and technology, and then we should be appreciating what we used to do 20 years ago: be outside and fresh air and sunshine and all the simple stuff that we tend to take for granted.
And that's one thing that we're doing as well. We sort of one thing I like to do, and I do it a weekly thing, and I sort of tend to write it on the weekend, is we write what we call our wellness journey. And it's so it's not a blog. Well, it's kind of like a blog, but it's basically just talking about all these other things that are out there and these other things that you can do. It's kind of education in a sense of, like, what's earthing. Do people know what earthing is? Most people know what earthing is. Things like that, these different things around the world, like what are blue zones. And so there's all of these other, it's educating people about these other things apart from, and things that kind of help your wellness, generally speaking. But a lot of these sort of things that are out there that people have never heard of before, but then also tips on what to do to get out and to get out in the middle of the day and go and enjoy some sun. Things. I mean, I think it's also about because by doing these different things, it's kind of going to balances out your device time you're doing. So, for example, in the morning, it's kind of going out and setting your circadian rhythms. And so many people, when you say what's a circadian rhythm, no one really knows what they are. And to be honest, I probably didn't until I actually got into the space as well. But it's the most amazing thing that you should be doing. Is the first thing you should be doing as soon as you wake up, get outside and get some of that soft light onto your eyes, and just set your body clock up for the day. And ideally go and get earth, go and stand on the sand, take your feet off and go and stand on the grass in your garden or something like that. Like it's amazing the difference it does make, but it also it's a great balance. And then you're sort of going into sitting in your office during the day, but to be at least doing that in the mornings is super helpful. And
it's really interesting you say that, because we live in a society now where it's go, go, go. People get up straight away, they grab their coffee, they're in a rush, they've got to get their kids ready, you know, whereas all you need is 5 minutes to do what you've just described, and it can make such a significant difference. But I'm sure there'll be people listening to this right now going, oh, I don't have time right now, you know. But when it comes down to your health and your well-being and your future, you have to find the time. You've got to make the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you feel better for it as well. You'll be, of course, you don't get sick as much, because obviously once you get being earth, you're taking all the electricity out of your body. And then you're setting, and you're going to sleep better at nighttime as well. And once you're sleeping better at nighttime, we all know that you're going to be a lot more productive during the day. So it's something that you do feel after a while that you know that it's actually working for you. So it's a really simple thing. And 5 minutes, that's all it takes, but it's the most amazing thing that you should be doing. Yeah,
absolutely. Now with some of your products, I obviously reached out to you guys a couple of weeks ago in relation to your eye mask through this package.
Yeah.
And so these products are not just for office use, right?
No.
You know, because obviously I travel to India quite a bit throughout the year, and I am the worst sleeper on planes. A lot of the time I just won't sleep because I can't. Due to me being 6'2", I get stuck in those little economy seats and I'm crushed in there, and you know, there's noise, there's constant engine mirroring and all that sort of stuff. So you obviously suggested the eye mask and the earplugs, and I thought, you know what, that's a great idea. I'm gonna give this a crack on the next trip, which is a couple of weeks away. So it's applicable to situations like that, and a lot of people do travel, you know, overseas as well, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's a good point. I mean, why would people wear a sleep mask when they're actually on a device? Well, it's not clearly for that. So it's for sort of helping you sleep better at night, because it's one of those sleeps that I think it's one of the biggest issues that there is out there in our society.
Massive,
not enough people are getting enough sleep, and I think there's all of these great, like the Aura rings and all these different apps and so forth. Apple obviously do it on their phone, tracking your sleep, and I think it's critical, because then you obviously you're a lot healthier as a result of it. So so we there again, it was one of these Q&As that we put out to different people saying, okay, what's something that you need that's sort of going to help you? And a lot of people started talking about sleep and lack of sleep and not getting enough sleep, and quite often, let's sort of take a segue into that, quite often people aren't sleeping well because they've been on their devices in the evening. So
yes.
And obviously, as we know, once you're sort of exposed to blue light in the evening, that just tricks your mind into thinking it's daytime, and your circadian rhythm is thrown out of whack, and then suddenly there you are staring at the ceiling at midnight, you've been on your device. And I think in addition to that, the blue light, but also the exposure, but it's also you're sort of mentally stimulated by whatever you're laughing at on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. So so we went, okay, well, people need sleep, and there's sleep masks have been around for ages, but this sleep mask is not just a silk sleep mask, it's actually got these pockets in it, so you can actually, it's 100% blackout, and it's super soft around the eyes, and has this sort of memory foam pockets on there, so you can actually open your eyes. So yes, if you're on a plane and you you sort of wake up and don't know where you are, at least you can sort of open your eyes, don't have to get exposed, because obviously on the plane you're exposed to massive amounts of blue light on the plane, which make it hard to sleep as well.
That's right.
So that's it's actually, apart from a great home companion, it's actually our biggest seller.
Is it really?
Out of all of our products.
Wow.
It's our biggest seller. It just flies out the door. So,
and do you find that do you get feedback in regards to what the person is using it for? Is it mostly for travel or just for general use at home?
To be honest, it's general use, probably more than travel. I mean, there are people who say they use it for travel, but mostly it's general use, because I think people these days, no one's getting 100% blackness or black in their rooms. There's always light coming in.
There is.
And some people can sleep through that, but a lot of people need to be in complete darkness. So, so that's super, super popular. And then in addition to that, which is our latest product we brought out, was our earplugs. So yeah, for when you travel, as we were speaking about this before, but I'd be really interested to sort of hear what it's like for you, the feedback from it, and if you do get sleep on the plane, because it's, if you can sort of, those two senses block your hearing and block your ears, and then also your sight, you should be able to sort of get into the zone, and hopefully, even if you're sitting upright, still be able to get you some sleep.
Exactly. In
the plane. So and the earplugs, obviously great for travel, but a whole different myriad of different reasons we brought this out was so everyone's on these shared spaces working these days, whether it's in a WeWork type environment or whether they're in their normal office, people wanting to get into the zones. A lot of people put their AirPods in and listen to music. But a lot of people don't do that. So we've found a lot of people are using these earplugs to sort of, they don't block 100% of the noise. They block 27 decibels out, which is kind of like taking the edge off it. So you can put these in and you can really get into the zone and not be distracted in your work partner next to you talking on the phone and so forth, or someone at a distance. And I think it's sort of really sort of getting that focus. And that's, we've seen a great demand for that. It's been super popular as well.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So in terms of other products that you've got, I was looking on your website the other day, and you've got stand-up desks as well. So you're obviously encompassing everything to accommodate, the best possible, I guess, health approach to working from a desk with computer, blue light, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, look, the big the two there, the stand-up desks and the ergonomic chair. So they're nothing new. They've been around for ages. But what we've done, we've got this table. It's obviously, I'm not on one at the moment, but it's one that you can actually, it's the electric desk and goes up, because that's critical for people to actually be sitting and standing during the day and not just sitting down all the time. So we know that that's better for your health and your well-being by doing that. And having a proper ergonomic chair that makes you sit, unlike I am at the moment, but makes you sit upright and basically sort of has your body in the correct position it should be, particularly for that length of time that you're actually sitting at your desk. And then switch across to, because we should be sort of mixing it up a bit. And I think there's probably like 50-50, and some people are standing all day, but at least sort of swapping around. And it's just part of promoting to keep your body moving all of the time. And we know how important it is with the stand-up desks. I mean, so many of the big offices has got them these days as well, most new places. So that's how obviously important it is. So so they're really popular products. Another one which we've got with sleep is a weighted blanket. So
of course,
I'm not sure if you sleep with a weighted blanket, but it's amazing. I mean, just we sort of came across these when we were doing a lot of our sleep research. There again, we're not the first people to bring these out. They've been out there before, but these are just amazing, and they're all based on, you sort of, it's you got to have they come in different weights, and it's all on 10% of your body weight approximately. It's like picking up these pieces of lead, but it's kind of this malleable lead, and what it's actually done. So it's actually inside is actually glass beads. So and so that has the weight on it, and what it actually does, it sits on your body and basically sort of, you kind of get enveloped by it as well, but it has this real sensory issue. So it's kind of like let's say like a bit of a warm hug, because it literally wraps around you. And because of the sensory issues, it's a really, one thing which we didn't know about when we developed with it, but it's great for people with autism.
Yes, I've heard this.
This touch and feel and so forth. So it's a really big product from that point of view as well, as our earplugs are with autism as well, because people, depending on different levels of it, of autism, but they don't like the noise and so forth. So this putting earplugs in just sort of takes the edge off.
So can you share any products that might be on the horizon, maybe for next year, or anything in terms of this space that you're working on, or that will be launched soon?
Good question. We do have some exciting products coming out next year. I can't sort of reveal what they are, because it's all the element of surprise. But it's got to do with sleep, and it's got to do with exposure to blue light as well.
So do you find that there's still opportunity to develop products that will help with blue light and sleep that you haven't already come across? Is there some
Exactly.
uses that you can look at? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, there's so much blue light that we're all still exposed to out there with sleep as well. So I mean,
Yep.
it's and just people don't know. I mean, essentially every bit of lighting these days has got blue light in it, and the reason for it, because it's LED lighting. LED lighting is the most cost effective, but it's also the most efficient as well.
Yes.
Also the brightest. So cars have got it. You see when a car coming down the street, you can see most cars have got it. So
yep.
wherever you go, all through your home has got it. So I mean, at night time, ideally, it's pretty hard when you've got kids and so forth as well. But ideally at night time, you want to sort of be limiting how much light you've got in the house on.
Yep.
So you can at least let your body sort of start settling into its circadian rhythm and sort of starting to fall asleep. So yeah, so lighting and all of and exposure or lack of exposure to blue light in the evenings is super important as well.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because as you mentioned, it's everywhere. So we got it on our phones, our computers, smart TVs, and now in every household. So what do we do in the evenings to wind down? Is watch TV, and unfortunately, it's not really winding down because the blue light's like intense as.
I mean, look, the one thing I suppose with the exposure of blue light and TVs in the evening is you're not sitting super close to it.
That's true. Yes.
So you do have that distance. So so we've got what we call sleep glasses.
Yep.
So they don't totally block out all of the blue light, but we've sort of gone for that hybrid model where where people can still see the correct colors on their screens, but they've got a deeper amber tint to it.
Okay.
So we sort of promote those, wearing those in the evening as well. So when you are viewing your TV, you can actually see it, and it's more or less true colors as opposed to the red ones, which totally work. They're 100%, they block out 100% of the blue and the green light and the red light as well, but they make your screen look totally different color as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, wow. That's fascinating.
So so it's you can't escape blue light.
No, it doesn't. And it's like, I guess I go back to the point we raised earlier about what it's going to look like in the future. I mean, with the amount of technology, smart homes, this exposure is going to be what could be 24/7 almost, which obviously then raises a question: how's that going to impact our health? I guess there's no answer to it at this point, but that's where it's headed.
Well, I just think it's just wise to sort of see what's out there and I think there's so much information out there these days to just do your research and see what things can help you and what can't. I mean, there's lots of biohackers out there, and biohacking is obviously a fairly big thing as well. But there's some great advice that a lot of these people have got. Some of it. It's hard to actually sort of practice some of the things, so they're a bit more extreme and so forth. But I think there's a lot of good tips that we can sort of get from people, and just things like getting up in the morning and so forth, and seeing the sun first, earthing, all of that type of stuff. So there's a whole lot of really good things that are out there. But I think it is going to be an interesting time to sort of see what happens in the next, well, happening now, but also in 10 years time.
Exactly.
Again, you kind of go, how much worse can it get? I mean, but it's clearly
we probably said that 10 years ago as well.
Exactly.
And look where we are. So it's fascinating how quick this technology has evolved.
No, it's crazy.
Well, so in terms of to give your business a plug, obviously, how do people find you? Look for the products, website, social media, lay it out there for us.
Yeah, great. So look, our website is baxterblue.com.au.
Yep.
All of our products are on there, and we've got our Instagram handle, which is baxterblue_. So we're quite often there on an Instagram as well. So they're the two main places that you can sort of find all our products on there.
And the journal that you mentioned, that's on your website too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's a Wellbeing. So if anyone wanted to actually sign up to our email list, you'll be sort of served this. I send it out every Sunday.
Okay.
And it's what we call a Wellbeing journey, and it's all things to do with. It's got nothing to do with any of our products.
Right.
All things to do with health and well-being, and just discovery of different things.
It's just good education, right?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so it's quite an enjoyable thing to write, because I actually discover a lot of new things myself as well.
Well, that's fantastic.
I'd like to sort of spread that knowledge out there to people as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I must say thank you, mate, because it's been a really insightful discussion. There's some stuff there that actually I'm going to implement now, having spoken to you today about it. But I'll also obviously be trialing the mask on my next
Yes.
flight to see how that goes. Because
Indeed.
at this stage, I'm prepared to try anything to try and get some
Exactly.
sleep when the flights are like 8+ hours. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be very interesting. But I'll finish with a question I ask every guest I have on the podcast.
Yeah.
That is, who would you like to have over for dinner? So it's more personality based. So if you could have a dinner and a conversation with anyone, they could be fictional, non-fictional, alive, dead, male, female, a couple of people perhaps. Who do you think it would be?
Look, probably the first one that comes to mind. There's actually two people I would, but firstly, one guy's Richard Branson. I just think he's amazing. I think he's sort of in that I've read all of his books and watched all of his different bios and so forth, and he's just an amazing person. I'm not sure if he's obviously an absolute marketing genius, and I was actually just reading it today as well. Funnily enough, I just came up on whatever feed I was on, maybe it was news.com or something. There was a plane literally yesterday a Virgin plane going from Melbourne down to Tasmania. He got on, rang the plane on FaceTime, got the hostie on board, and gave everyone on the plane a free trip on their new cruise line going from Melbourne down to Tasmania. So he specifically chose that plane because it's doing the same trip,
right?
And gave everyone a trip worth $7,000 each.
How was that?
So how cool is that? So they've all got that, but just think about the marketing genius of that. It's a relevant topical thing. There it is on news.com.
Yep.
Boom, everyone's reading all about his his new venture. So yeah, he's an amazing person. He seems like a really super nice guy, but I just admire him for everything he's done in the space and just what he's done. I mean, he's one of the true guys that sort of started off being going to these, starting with British Airways back in the day, fighting with them so he could actually get the low-cost airline happening. So and then obviously before that he had his record label. So yeah, super cool guy. And the other one was a guy called Stephen Bartlett.
Oh yeah, I know Stephen.
You heard of him?
I don't know him, but I know of him. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's a super interesting guy. Really, he's 30 years old, and I think he's owned and sold so many different businesses, but super intelligent. He's on a show also called Dragon's Den, which is where I actually saw him in the UK.
Yep, his podcast is really good too.
Shark Tank. Sorry.
His podcast, Diary of CEO, is really good as well.
Yeah, and his podcast.
Unbelievable.
The people he gets on his podcast, amazing.
Yeah.
So so he's really cool. So yeah, I don't actually really like, because he's just a really super interesting guy, and he's got so many different stories, but just so knowledgeable. So I
tell you what, that'd be a pretty cool dinner to have both of them there at the same time.
Wouldn't it? Yeah. I don't know whether they've met, but yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Very interesting indeed.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you once again, Aaron. Really appreciate your time and insight into not only the products of Baxter Blue, but also, the space of digital wellbeing, because obviously it's something that is current. I would say there's certainly going to be further concern and issues with, the next wave of generational people coming through with the use of technology. So it's good to know that there's companies like yours out there that are obviously looking at ways to further advance our ability to manage that.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, well, thanks for having me. It's been really enjoyable. So
no,
the time.
Not a problem, mate. Not a problem.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
All right. Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Let me just